statement. The Bills got paid out west. What did last night mean for both Super Bowl contenders? Meanwhile, wait a minute. Dak got hurt at practice? The D in Big D stands for disbelief. You're not going to believe what happened there. And then an uneasy opener for Aaron. Does Rodgers have what he needs to get a tough road win in the division? All that and more as we get up with you starting right now. We are presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, and it is my delight to present the first Football Friday of this NFL season. Graziano, Sancho, Ninko, all ready to go. And saving the best for last, if you will. Ryan Clark is up early. Let's go. Game one last night, and it was a statement out west. Game of the night, gentlemen, let's go. Rams began well. They're unveiling a banner. Oh, and guess who was there? Getting lit was Odell Beckham. He's excited, but then it was Josh Allen who would take over the night. Sancho on a third down, Gabe Davis.
Gabe Davis is going to be a breakout star this year. We saw what he did last year. He picked up where he left off.
Bills take the early 7-0 lead. Then Ninko, Matthew Stafford, finding an old friend, Von Miller.
The fountain of youth, Von Miller, just keeps getting better and better. That's what they need. They need a pass rush.
And they got it last night. He had 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss. Early in the second quarter, Sancho, what the heck is that?
There were turnovers all about, especially in the first half. You saw both teams early in the game turning the ball over. Fumbles, interceptions, all of it.
Bills up 10-0 early. Next Rams possession, rolling the dice, going for it on a 4th down. Cooper Kupp and Sancho, he gets an assist.
He gets an assist from his offensive line. Without that offensive line push, that's not a first down. That's a 4th down turnover. Huge play by the offensive line.
It was, because it leads to this later in the drive on 2nd and goal. You know what, Ninko? It was Cooper Kupp all night long.
Toe touch, beautiful toe taps here. That's a beautiful catch. 2 feet in, actually 3 feet, 4 feet, whatever. Touchdown.
He had 13 catches, 128 yards. It was 10-all at halftime, but then Ninko, the second half would belong to Josh Allen. And just what does he do to Nick Scott on this play?
Excuse me, sir. Get out of my way. That's just insane. It's a quarterback. He's like, that strong films are going to be rough this morning for that guy.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's Nick Scott on the wrong side of that, and it leads to this. Isaiah McKenzie, that's a touchdown. Bills up 17-10, and they're just getting started. Then Sancho early in the 4th, out near midfield. It's Allen, and again, Gabe Davis emerging.
A big-time emergence. Last year, remember, he had 8 catches, 201 yards in the AFC playoffs. Gabe Davis is a star, period.
88 yards and a touchdown for him last night, and that would set up this, Ninko. How about the threat that Josh Allen is in the red zone?
What is it? Is this Space Jam? Is this MJ and the Monstars just reaching out for the touchdown? Go gadget arm, touchdown? Oh, my goodness.
There's no way to stop
MVP.
that.
No.
24-10. Next Rams possession. Stafford looking for Cooper Kupp over the middle. Ninko, does Stafford's arm look okay to you?
It looks like the velocity's not as quick. There's a little floating pass here. I know he's trying to go with the no look. He was trying to get the Patrick Mahomes no look, and it just didn't work out. So again, the arm, maybe the elbow.
He threw 3 picks last night. I want to consider looking next time. Next Bills possession. Sancho, Stephon Diggs, and where in the world is the defense? Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, obviously miscommunication here, but the arm by Josh Allen, the play by Stephon Diggs, and also the Celtics.
Yeah,
shout out to the
nice.
Celtics.
Allen, 3 touchdown passes on the night. Stafford, 3 interceptions on the night. He does make the big tackle here on Boogie Basham, but that was much too little, much too late. A statement on opening night. The Bills 31-10. Hey, Von Miller, how about this quarterback you've got?
He's a creature. There he is right there, man. He's a creature, man. He's good, man. He's the leader of our team. We kind of follow his lead, man. He's a tough guy. Out there running guys over, stiff arming guys, man. Had a lot of success tonight, and we just kind of fed off each other, man.
We weren't ready to go. I take a lot of pride in that, and that's on me. I got to do better. There was a lot of decisions that I made that I felt like didn't put our players in good enough spots. This was a humbling experience, but we're going to stay connected. We're going to all look inward. We're going to do a better job moving forward.
Well, they're going to have to get better than that, but the reality is this guy may now be better than everybody. When he's got the arms and the legs working, the Bills are going to be tough to start. It was his 8th game last night of 350 total yards and 4 touchdowns. All 8 of them have come since 2020. That's the most of any quarterback in the league. They've won by an average of 17 points per game in those 8 games. So, Ryan Clark, I give you the first commentary here as the Bills put a whooping in the second half on the defending Super Bowl champs. What's the number one takeaway, RC?
Yeah.
Hey, the Buffalo Bills are who we thought they were, and maybe even better. Think about this. There's been no team that has gotten more hype because of the way they lost the playoff game than the Buffalo Bills. We felt like Josh Allen had taken that step, and he now stands side by side with Patrick Mahomes as one of the most talented and maybe the best quarterback in the entire NFL. And the physicality that this team can now play with, they overwhelmed the Los Angeles Rams. And when you think about a team that's coming off of a Super Bowl, it's Thursday night, playing in their own stadium, the type of electricity in those moments is crazy. I played in 2 of those games, and sometimes just the adrenaline that's built up makes a team hard to beat. The Buffalo Bills beat the adrenaline out of the Los Angeles Rams. Josh Allen showed that above and beyond, he's head and shoulders of where Matthew Stafford is right now. Gabriel Davis, Stephon Diggs took over on the outside, and then we saw Moss begin to be physical running the football. But let's switch to the defense. No Tre'Davious White, no problem. Von Miller and that rush were absolutely phenomenal. They played great defense on the back end. Those 2 high safeties, Hyde and Poyer, were amazing. The Buffalo Bills are the team to beat, and many people felt that coming into this game. I think they leave this game an even bigger Super Bowl favorite. Right now, yes, it's only been 1 game played, and so Josh Allen would win the MVP. I don't think that changes. He's the best the league has right now, and so are the Buffalo Bills.
That's a big statement, but it's impossible to argue. And, you know, Graziano, you were making the point earlier today that every time the Bills made a play, it seemed to come from somebody different. I mean, they are loaded and deep.
On both sides of the ball. I mean, look, this defense, coordinated by Leslie Frazier, who should be getting head coach interviews and doesn't for some reason, has been very good for several years now. But Von Miller, who looked 25 years old last night, it could be the piece that elevates it beyond just very good. He was for the Rams last year. They acquired him midseason, and when you talk to people with the Rams, they say he was the difference maker. Because he had won the Super Bowl before, he could come into a locker room full of guys that hadn't and explain what it took. He can do the same thing in Buffalo, and it's a big part of the reason why they signed him. But, I mean, layer after layer of guys. I mean, they're rotating in defensive linemen. They have all kinds of linebackers. They have cornerbacks good enough to get them through a Tre'Davious White injury, and that's just the defense. We could talk about the offense and Josh Allen and all the guys he's thrown it to, and the fact that in 4 of their last 6 games, they have not punted. I mean, they had 4 of their last 8, one of which was a playoff game. Yeah. Their punt, that's the best job in the NFL is Bill's punter. You can just kick back. And I mean, they are a machine right now. They did nothing. All our picks came out. Our Super Bowl picks came out yesterday. Yeah. I hate being like part of the crowd, right? Like, oh, everybody's picking the Bills. I feel a lot better about it after watching them play that game.
Yes, and I feel a lot worse because I didn't pick them. And, you know, Nico, and you made the point. If not for the turnovers, they turned the ball over repeatedly. What is that game last night without the mistakes?
I mean, it was already a blowout, but a complete blowout. So you look at the Bills and those turnovers that they had. I don't put those on Josh Allen. A couple of them, you know, you got the fumble, you got the interception where the receiver has to come back to the football. He ran the in cut and it kind of just faded away and was undercut by the defender. So again, you look at those turnovers. If they didn't turn the ball over, it could have been what? 50.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have been insane if they had 3 more possessions where they actually scored. So again, you look at Buffalo. There's things that they can work on and be better at, which is even scarier, really.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, you're going to have some sloppy play in the opener.
Yeah,
that's to be expected. And the Bills certainly had more than enough to overcome whatever their mistakes were. Sacho, I feel like the focus needs to be on Allen. As you watch him, you and I were making the observation before the show that he's sitting next to Von Miller in that little press conference there. And which one of them is the quarterback? Right? He's bigger than Von Miller.
And it looks like it is, but he actually is. So I played with Josh Allen. He's every bit of 6'5", every bit of 245, whatever you want to call it. Like guy. He's a specimen. He's a creature, like Von Miller said. And that play on Nick Scott, where he literally sized up Nick Scott. He looked like a running back. Looked at him, got his arm out, stiff-armed him, threw him to the ground for the first down. That's who Josh Allen is. That's who he's always been. That's who he's going to be. So for me, Josh Allen's a story.
If Tom Brady and Derrick Henry somehow managed to have a baby, which is a ridiculous idea, it might be Josh Allen because he can do all that stuff. All right, let's go to RC. The first thing you said to me when I spoke to you this morning, 2.5 hours ago, was this was more about the Bills than it was the Rams. This is the defending Super Bowl champs, as you pointed out, in their building with all that energy, and the quarterback did not look right. What do we say about the defending champs and their quarterback this morning?
I think you're scared. I mean, when you look at a Sean McVay team, the one thing that we can say about them is that they always seem to be prepared. And they didn't seem to look like this as an offense probably since they lost the Super Bowl to the New England Patriots. And it was in that game that Sean McVay said he learned some things and he started to understand some things and he had to be better. And he was out-coached by Bill Belichick. I believe it looked the same last night when Sean McVay was facing Leslie Frazier's defense. You didn't see the zip on the ball from Matthew Stafford. And Nico talked about it a little bit on the call this morning. Some of those out routes and some of the plays that he was throwing the football to the sideline seemed to float away from him. And I said this during the offseason when we were talking about Stafford's injury. I said, as long as he can throw the football like he always has, we're okay. We've never associated Matthew Stafford's success, his potential, or anything we thought about him with anything other than arm talent and arm strength. If he loses that, who is he? He's the guy we saw last night. Also think about this. Remember, you bring over Allen Robinson, and Allen Robinson has been good with every quarterback he's played with, whether it's Mitchell Trubisky, Nick Foles, or whoever it was. He was always a guy that could produce. He barely gets the ball last night. Right? Matthew Stafford doesn't want to throw it to anyone but 10. They can't get a run game going. You can't block. This looks like a team that has a lot to fix in a very short period of time. The season is here. Matthew Stafford doesn't look good. This was a very un-Sean McVay-like performance as a coach.